ऑल राइट, तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं। हेलो एवरीवन, दिस इज नमन एंड आई हम्बली वेलकम यू ऑल टू आवर यूट्यूब चैनल दैट इज यूपीएससी बाय नमन राज गुप्ता। आज हम पीएसआईआर की लेक्चर सीरीज लेक्चर नंबर 54 डिस्कस करने वाले हैं, जिस पे हम डिस्कस करेंगे हैना अरेंट ऑन पॉलिटिक्स। जी हाँ दोस्तों, हैना अरेंट की जो व्यू है ऑन पॉलिटिक्स, दिस इज डायरेक्टली लिंक्ड विथ हर थ्योरी ऑफ एक्शन। ओके, जो कि उनकी एक फिलोसॉफिकल वर्क है ऑन द ह्यूमन कंडीशन, उससे आती है। मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द थिंकर्स में हमने देखा है उनके फिलोसॉफिकल वर्क एंड पॉलिटिकल वर्क या तो अलग होती हैं या इन्फ्लुएंस्ड होती है उनके फिलोसॉफिकल वर्क से। बट हैना अरेंट ऑन पॉलिटिक्स इज हर फिलोसॉफिकल वर्क where she talks about philosophy and importance of action in politics। कैसे किसी भी पॉलिटिक्स को या पॉलिटिक को हेल्दी रखने के लिए, उसे एफिशिएंटली ऑपरेशन में लाने के लिए एक्शन बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है। एंड आज हम देखेंगे कि ये एक्शन है क्या, एंड थ्योरी ऑफ एक्शन जो हैना अरेंट की वन ऑफ द वेरी वेरी अस्टाउंडिंग वेरी वेरी ओरिजिनल थ्योरी है, वो है क्या। राइट, एक्शन अपने आप में ही बहुत वेग हो सकता है अगर हम अभी की बात करें तो, बट मैं आपको ये दिलासा दे सकता हूं कि हम एक बार थ्योरी ऑफ एक्शन हैना अरेंट की कंप्लीट कर लेंगे तो आपको बिल्कुल पता चल जाएगा कि हैना अरेंट की एक्शन का मतलब है क्या। राइट, इट इज अ हाईएस्ट फॉर्म, इट इज अ हाईएस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ एक्टिविटी फॉर एनी ह्यूमन बीइंग। राइट, अगर मैं आपको एक समरी में बताऊं तो राइट, आप सिर्फ इस कॉन्टेक्स्ट को अपने दिमाग पे रखें एंड सारी चीज भूल जाएं। राइट, हम जैसे जैसे चीजें डिस्कस करने लगेंगे आपको अपने आप चीजें समझ में आने लग जाएंगी। जस्ट सिट पेशेंटली एंड जस्ट हैव योर सेल्फ डीपली engraved and engaged in the lecture, people. All right, but before starting I'd love to have you all remember whatever we have done in the previous lectures. Okay, so sir, how will we remember? Okay, so don't worry, मैंने आपके लिए ये set of quizzes बनाया है जो आपको effectively recover and remember करने में help करेगा, जो भी हमने previous lecture में discuss किए हुए हैं। So the first question here is, but before starting with the question, I would like to know you all that you should know the drill of this particular quiz. Okay, so you will be getting 10 seconds to answer. Okay, after once I read the question, just ensure to put your answer in the comment section honestly, right? Because this is not something which I am doing for myself, but for all of you, right? So be honest with yourself and try putting the answers in the comment section. All right, so you will be getting 10 seconds, but you can pause your video, take your own time, and you can mention the answer in the comment section. Okay, so the first question is, what is the methodology adopted by Hannah Arendt in deriving her ideas? All right, so the option A is dialectics, option B is phenomenology, option C is historical analysis, and option D is empirical method. And your time starts now. All right, we are done with the time. I am hoping that you guys have put your answers in the comment section. All right, I will check it and we will also discuss the answer at the end of this particular lecture. All right, so the second question is, which of the following is not true regarding Hannah Arendt? All right, option A is, Arendt describes her thinking as thinking without barriers. She can be projected as a scholar of civic republicanism, right? Civic republicanism. The third is, she criticized USA in her work, that is American Revolution and Democracy. And option D is, she criticized Nazism and Stalinism. All right, I'm hoping that you guys have got the question. Now your time starts. You can attempt the answer in the comment section. All right, we are done with 10 seconds, people. I'm hoping that you guys are putting your answers honestly. All right, the third question is, which of these are characteristics of a totalitarian state according to Arendt? Right, so option A is use of terror and ideology, option B is violence becomes an end in itself, option C is state tries to control even soul, and option D is all of the above. This is pretty simple question. If you guys have attempted just the previous lecture, I'm hoping that you guys could have effectively put the comments on and just throw in your answer, right? So yeah, 10 seconds starts now. All right, I don't think I need to give you all 10 seconds for that particular question. If you guys have like genuinely attended my previous lecture, all right. So the last question for the day is, why did Arendt criticize ideology? All right, this is again pretty simple question, which again came from the concept of totalitarianism that we have just discussed in our previous lecture. If you guys haven't watched the previous lectures or the set of lectures, after watching this lecture, you can go and have a watch of that particular lecture, because it is very, very important to have you all build your conceptual understanding on a continuous basis. All right. So the option A is ideology is based on myth. Option B is ideology is scientific thinking incompatible with social science. Option C is ideology makes human being passive, and option D is ideology expands human thinking. All right, this is again a very question based on common sense, but again, people can get confused with two of the options given here, which I will not disclose now. We will discuss that in the end of the lecture. But now your time is being started. Just try answering the question in the comment section. All right, so we are done with 10 seconds, people. I'm hoping that you guys have put the answer for all the fourth question in the comment section. Be honest with yourself, because the more efficiently you can remember here, the more effectively you will be able to remember while you are sitting for your PSIR examination or any political science examination. All right. So with this, let's get started with today's lecture. All right. So today we are going to discuss about Hannah Arendt on politics. All right. So as we have just discussed that this particular thing comes from her work that is on human condition. This is a philosophical work of Arendt, right? Philosophical work. And on the basis of her theory of action, her view on politics is based on her theory of action that we will see in this course of lecture. Okay, so again, she will be applying the same methodology, that is phenomenological, right? Phenomenology. What is phenomenology? Again, an entire lecture has been dedicated to her methodology, because this becomes very, very important, imperative for a political science student to know the methodology that has been applied. All right, so basically, just to give you a one word answer, this is her experience based on real world, right? Real world experience. She has talked about her theory of politics and also theory of action. All right, so in order to understand her view of politics, we need to understand her theory of action. And once we understand her theory of action, we will also understand what is her view on politics. Okay, so that is why it becomes very, very important for us to know the theory of action. Now here her theory of action starts, right? So basically, if we talk about our new normal human existence, we generally tend to engage in two sort of activities, right? हम generally दो type of काम करते हैं, या तो हम act करते हैं action, या तो हम think करते हैं that is thinking, right? या तो हम काम करते हैं या सोचते हैं, right? या हम सोच के काम करते हैं या काम करके फिर सोचते हैं. ऐसे भी कुछ टाइप के लोग होते हैं, राइट? जो पहले काम करने से पहले सोचते हैं फिर काम करते हैं, और कुछ ऐसे भी सॉर्ट ऑफ लोग होते हैं जो पहले काम कर लेते हैं, एक्ट कर लेते हैं, उसके बाद सोचते हैं कि यार मैंने क्या कर दिया, राइट? सो keeping my jokes apart, these are two sort of activities that Hannah Arendt has classified in her theory of action, right? So जैसे कि मार्क्स ने बताया था कि thinking or intellectuals or the false consciousness, right? They are responsible for dissemination. They are responsible for spreading of false consciousness, right? Philosophers until now have interpreted the world, but what matters is to change it, right? So the same line is being carried out also by Hannah Arendt, right? So Hannah Arendt could be the best successor of, or so as to say, so as to speak specifically, best woman successor of Karl Marx, right? Why I am saying woman successor? Because there is a connotation to it. There is an important to it, guys. People, what is the importance? She gives emphasis to the experience, right? She do not talk about theory or mental creation as was done by the predecessors, right? Like Gramsci, Marx, or social contractualist, right? She talks about the real time experiences in the consciousness, right? So as we generally know that the feminine tendencies, right, the woman tendencies, they are more emotive in nature, right? This is the basic truth, so as to speak, right? Again, there are exceptions, but this is what it is, right? Women are generally emotive. They tend to more feminine inclined behaviors, right? That is why she focuses more on the experiences based in consciousness, right? Consciousness. So that is why she could be the best woman successor of Karl Marx, right? And as Marx also focuses on what? The action. What is action in his case? Revolution, right? Revolution. He clearly speaks to the world that workers of the world unite. You have nothing to lose but your chains, right? So act. Now it is the time for action. We have done enough with the thinking, right? So this is why she also tries to eliminate thinking. She gives more emphasis to the action. Now it is the time for action. But again, the purpose for action in the case of Marx and in the case of Hannah Arendt is completely different, right? For Marx, it was the establishment of what? Socialist or communist society. But the importance of action in Hannah Arendt is to eliminate the establishment of any such society like totalitarianism और authoritarianism. So दोस्तों, आपको यहाँ समझने वाली बात यह है कि दोनों का पर्पस, हैना अरेंट एंड मार्क्स का पर्पस बहुत डिफरेंट है. मार्क्स ने अपनी एक्शन, अपनी रिवॉल्यूशन की बात क्यों की थी? ताकि एक कम्युनिज्म, एक सोशलिस्ट सोसाइटी इस्टेब्लिश हो सके, राइट? कैपिटलिस्ट को उखाड़ फेंके. फिर वहीं पे हैना अरेंट की जब हम बात करते हैं तो ये किन्हें उखाड़ के फेंकने की बात कर रही हैं? टोटलिटेरियन एंड ऑथोरिटेरियन रिजाइम्स को, राइट? एज वी हैव सीन इन हर थ्योरी ऑफ टोटलिटेरियनिज्म, शी सेज दैट द ह्यूमन एक्शन वी विल सी व्हाट ह्यूमन एक्शन मीन्स. इट इज बेसिकली मीन्स द एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ मेंस इन द पॉलिटिकल realm, राइट? अगर ऐसा होने लग जाए तो टोटलिटेरियन एंड ऑथोरिटेरियन रिजाइम कभी नहीं इस्टेब्लिश हो सकेंगी. Right? So this is what is the importance of action according to whom? According to Hannah Arendt, right? So she further defines or divides action into three categories, right? And what are those three categories? She first divides action into labor, right? We will see what a labor is, then work, then action, right? So first is labor, second is work, and third is action. And here action is the highest form of human action. Action is the highest form of human action, right? So let's see each of the aspect in details. Okay, so according to Hannah Arendt, action is more important than thinking, that we have just seen, right? She gives hierarchy of action in the form of labor, work, and action, right? This is the hierarchy जो Hannah Arendt ने दिया है. Least important is labor, so this labor is the least important in the sense of political importance, people, right? Political importance, remember this. For political realm, for political action, labor is the least important. We will see why labor is the least importance, right? So to know why labor is the least important, we have to know labor होता क्या है, right? Labor क्या है? So those actions which are performed to fulfill our basic needs are basically labor, right? Man has no control, there is no freedom for man in this sphere, right? All animals perform this action. In this stage, man is animal laborant, right? So I have spoken all the complex terminology, but in simpler term, अगर मैं बताऊं labor होता क्या है, तो labor होता है all the biological activities that are important for human survival, right? Like eating, like procreation, sex, etc., right? So these all are biological activities, and it is driven by what? The biological compulsion. It is our biological needs, right? It is our biological needs. We cannot choose to not do it, right? We have to do it in order to ensure our survival, right? So this is biological activities which is mainly driven by the sense of compulsion, the needs, right? It is mainly driven by the necessity. That is why it says that it has very least importance when it comes to the political activity or political action, right? So this is the first hierarchy of action that she classifies. The first one is labor, right? She also makes this little bit more complex by adding some Latin maxims right? Like when it comes to labor, she tends to choose to speak a animal laboran, right? So she uses a term that is animal laboran. Why animal laboran? Because here human beings and animals, they all comes on the equal terms, right? Even animals, they engage in same activities of procreation, biological needs, and etc., right? So here animals and humans, they both are the same, right? But when it comes to work, right, when it comes to work, what is work? Work is second in the hierarchy. As you can see, right, work is second in the hierarchy. It includes those actions like economic activities, professional actions, and etc., right? According to Hannah Arendt, man is builder of this particular world, right? Man is the builder, we are the builder, right? When man performs this action, they make world a place worth living, right? Because we process the raw nature into a more compatible nature, right? Into a more compatible, more suitable nature, right? So as you can see how the Gulf countries, right, countries like Israel and etc., which do not have any source of agriculture, but because of human work, because of human engagement, interactions, and etc., they are converting deserts into the farmlands with innovation, with technology, right? So this is what is the work, right, that human being engages in. They make this world worth living, right? And hence man is homo faber, right? Homo faber, again a Latin maxim, homo faber, he is only partially free here, right? So in when we talked about labor, men were not free, right? Why not free? Because they are bound by the biological needs, right? They are bound by the biological needs, right? They cannot choose to not eat, they cannot choose to not procreate, right? So hence when we talk about labor, man is not at all free, right? Man is bound by biological compulsion. When we talk about work, man is partially free, man is partially free. What do I mean when I say that man is partially free? Because here also man is driven by their instrumental, man is driven by their material expectations, right? Why do we work? We work for our sustenance, we work for money so that we can feed to our family, right? So here also we are not free, we are not practicing our freedom, we are working for the sake of instrumental material expectations, right? Like money, right? So here work is also partially free. But action, what is action? Action is the highest in the hierarchy, most important action, right? Action is the most important action. Only humans perform it, right? Animals and etc., they do not have the action, they do not have the prowess, they do not have the caliber to perform action. Why? Because they lack the cognitive skills to do so. But humans are unique, right? As Aristotle said that human beings are not only the social animal, human beings are also the political animals, right? Why? Because human beings are unique from the animals. Animals can engage in labor, but animals cannot engage in action or work as well, right? So this is the sphere of complete freedom. Why complete freedom? Because here we are not engaged by any biological need or instrumental expectation, right? That is why action is complete freedom. It is participation in politics or political action, right? It is participation in politics or political action. We will see why it is the participation in politics or political action. When man performs political action, he achieves human condition, right? Human condition, what is human condition? Human condition is basically freedom, right? We are born free. Human condition is freedom. Human condition is what? Individuality. Human condition is what? Individuality, our own uniqueness, right? And Hannah Arendt here, she is saying that if man engages in the political action in politics, then they achieve these human conditions of freedom, individuality, and etc., right? And hence all men is Jew politikon, right? Jew politikon. What does this mean? That human beings are made to, or they are made to perform or participate actively in the politics, right? Active politics, so as to achieve our human conditions. All right. So now, what is her analysis of action, right? What is her analysis of action? Let's see it in further detail. So only through action persons reveals his identity, right? We have just seen that how action can lead to achievement of human conditions, right? Human conditions. Human conditions, right? So what or how can one leads to achieve his or her human conditions, right? How politics can help in achievement of human conditions, right? Because politics or the action, through action persons reveal his identity, right? Actualize the capacity for freedom, reaffirms the reality of this world. So this is the three dimension, right? Through action, first the person reveals his identity. What is identity? Identity is not the socially created identity, people. Remember this, right? So identity is not socially created identity, right? What is socially created identity? Jaise for someone, I can be son of someone, right? I can be a son of a billionaire, right? So let's say for someone, I can be a doctor. For someone, I can be an great civil servant, right? So these all are socially created identity. But here, Arendt is not talking about the socially created identity, but she is talking about the true identity. True identity. And what is true identity? Let's say I might be better in debate, right? I might be better in debate. I might be better at arguments. I might be better at reasoning, right? And only through active participation, active action, the true identity of who am I can be revealed, right? So this is the identity that Hannah Arendt is talking about, right? The second is it can help in actualization of the capacity for freedom, right? Actualization of true freedom through revealing our own identity. By revealing our own true self, we can walk towards freedom, right? So until and unless I don't know who am I, right, how will I consider free? How will I be considered free, right? Think this thing very, very deeply, people, right? Because if we are someone else's property, right? I am son of someone. I am a doctor. I work in so and so institutions, right? I am still bound by something, right? If let's say if I am a civil servant working under the government of India, right? Tomorrow government of India decides to fire me, right? Then who am I? Right? I loses all my identity. I will lose all my identity, right? So what identity will I have in the society? Right? Nothing. And hence I will become what? I will become someone random, someone unidentified or something like that, right? But when we talk about the action, when we engage in political activity, it leads to the creation of our true identity. That yes, Naman is someone who is best at debate. Naman is someone who is best at argument, and hence it will lead me to create my own identity, reveal my real identity, right? Which will lead to the actualization of the freedom, right? Because I will get to know myself. I will feel more free. I will have my own worth, right? I will have my own worth. I will not be under the conditions of someone else, right? I will not be subjected to some institution. And hence it will lead me to the freedom and reaffirm the reality of this world. I will get closer to know what this world is for me, right? So again, when we talk about human action, we have seen how important human action is, how it can lead to the what? Actualization of human conditions, right? It can lead to what? It can lead to the actualization of human conditions, right? But here Hannah Arendt is suggesting two important conditions or components, right? Conditions or कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ ह्यूमन एक्शन, कि अगर आप एक्शन कर रहे हैं तो ये दो इंपॉर्टेंट कंडीशंस या कंपोनेंट फुलफिल होना चाहिए, राइट? एंड व्हाट आर दोस टू कंडीशंस? द फर्स्ट वन इज फ्रीडम एंड द सेकंड वन इज प्लुरालिटी, राइट? हम देखेंगे फ्रीडम एंड प्लुरालिटी क्या है एक्शन. सो लेट्स से हम आइसोलेशन में भी कर सकते हैं, राइट? हम आइसोलेशन में भी पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हैं पॉलिटिक्स में, राइट? बट शी सेज दैट इन ऑर्डर टू engage in action, these two conditions are very, very important, right? So the actions which are done in isolation, what is isolation? The action which are done by our own self in alone, right? When we are alone, this is not a action, is right. There must be two conditions which needs to be fulfilled in order to consider an action as an action. And what are those two conditions? The first one is freedom and the second one is plurality. What is freedom? So she defines freedom as natality. What is natality? Capacity to do something new, right? Capacity to do something new. And when one can do something new, just try to think it out. आप कुछ नया कब कर सकते हैं? जब आपकी बेसिक नीड्स, आपकी बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट्स, आपकी बेसिक नेसेसिटी फुलफिल हो चुकी है, राइट? तभी आप किसी इंपॉर्टेंट न्यू इनोवेशन में काम करके कुछ नया क्रिएट कर सकते हैं. दिस इज व्हाट इज द फ्रीडम. जब आप अपने बाउंडेशन से फ्री हो, राइट? जब आपके ऊपर कोई नेसेसिटी, आपके ऊपर कोई सोसाइटी की कंपल्सन ना हो. अगर सोसाइटी चाहेगी, अगर आपकी फैमिली चाहेगी कि आप उन्हें कमा के ला के दे, तो आपको 10 to 12 आवर्स काम करके उन्हें पैसे लेके देने पड़ेंगे, राइट? यू डोंट हैव टू एंगेज इन लीजर एंड प्रोक्रिएशन ऑफ समथिंग न्यू, right? You are not free. You are under foundation of your family. You are under foundation of the society, right? That is why when we talk about freedom, she says that freedom is the capacity to do something new, right? When you are really free, right? This is what freedom is. जब आप सच में free हैं, जब आप सच में leisure में हैं, तभी आप कुछ नया कर सकते हैं, right? So it is typically says that, right? If I have to give you just one example, that Newton was lying under the apple tree, right? Apple tree, when an apple fallen down from the tree on his head, and he got the entire idea of his theory, right? That we know him by today, right? So this is how he was engaging in some leisure. Then he realized, right, entire natural theory, which is very prominent even to this day. Right? So this is what a freedom is, when someone is not bounded, someone is not under compulsion, right? When someone is free to do something new. This is what freedom is. And action must be committed or engaged in freedom, right? Not under any foundation, because that cannot be considered as freedom. That cannot be considered as action. वो तो मेयर आप अपनी नेसेसिटी फुलफिल करने के लिए कुछ काम कर रहे हैं, उसे एक्शन नहीं बोला जा सकता. सो अगर किसी चीज को एज एन एक्शन कंसिडर करने के लिए, वहां पे बेसिक कंडीशन ये है कि आप फ्री होने चाहिए जब आप उस एक्शन को कमिट कर रहे हैं, राइट? द सेकंड वन इज प्लुरालिटी. व्हाट इज प्लुरालिटी? प्लुरालिटी इज बेसिकली द डाइवर्सनेस, राइट? The differences in the thinking, the diverse of perspective, right? The diverseness of the perspective, right? So again, plurality भी हैना अरेंट ने दो अलग अलग टर्म में डिफाइन किए हैं, right? The first one is equality. When we talk about plurality, the first condition is equality. What is equality? The sameness, right? Sameness, that everyone should be humans. The first condition is, when we talk about the actions, the first one is equality, right? In equality, everyone must be humans. It is not like human and AI, they are engaging in any political action. No, this cannot be happen. Human sameness can be defined by the term that everyone have ability to perform, right? Ability to perform or engage in action through their consciousness, right? This is what is the equality. This is what is the sameness. Since all are humans, all of us are same or equals, right? Because we all have the capacity to think, capacity to participate in the action, right? Participate in the politics. And second condition is diversity, right? Diversity. What is diversity? Though all of us are same, yet all of us are different, right? Why different? Because we have our own unique set of experiences. We have our unique set of perspective. We have our unique set of what? Our thinking, our values, our beliefs, and etc., right? So everyone has a capacity to do something new, right? It is true. Everyone has a capacity to do something unique, to do something new. This is what our individuality is, right? This is what our individuality is. This is what our individuality is. It means everyone is irreplaceable, right? I cannot replace myself with someone else, right? Why? Because I am me. I am unique, right? And no one can replace me, because every humans are unique in themselves, right? Everyone have their own set of values. Everyone have their own set of perspective, experiences, right? So no one else can replace someone else, right? So this is the reality. This is why the humans are very, very important, right? Thus, according to her, every life is precious, right? Hence every life becomes very, very precious. And if you look here closely, she is also giving the justification for eradication of any authoritarian or totalitarian regime, right? We cannot just choose to eliminate or exterminate any particular community, like Hitler did with the Jew community, right? Because every life is precious, every life is important, right? We cannot impose something vague like Aryan invasion theory and just prove that the Germans, the Aryans and descendants of the Aryans are superior and any particular community is inferior. No, it is not like that. Everyone's life is very, very precious. They have their own set of values, they have their own set of different perspective and conditions, right? And hence it becomes irreplaceable, it cannot be replaced. That is why here we have right to equality, right to life as well, right? Because we need to accept the diversity, right? Any person can be the source of natality. Any person can be the source of natality, that is the ability to create something new. The only condition should be they should be free from the foundation, right? So according to her, plurality is important. Plurality is very, very important. Now we are talking about plurality. Why plurality? Because we exercise our freedom in presence of others rather than alone, right? Because let's say when one is alone, we tend to create our own set of illusion, right? And if we do not challenge our own thinking, right, if we will not know what the other side of the story is, we will think whatever we are thinking is right, जो हम सोच रहे हैं वो सही है, until and unless we will have someone, हमारा दोस्त, हमारे घर वाले, कोई भी, कि जो चैलेंज कर सके हमारी थिंकिंग को कि no, whatever you are thinking can be right, but there is other side of story as well, you need to know this, right? So until and unless we are challenging our own creation, our own thinking, our own diverse perspective and etc., it is not something can be considered as an action, right? Why? Because action cannot be done alone, right? Just like an artist need an audience, right? Very, very basic thing. An artist need an audience, a singer needs his audience or her audience, right, in order to know what is the feedback he or she is receiving from the audiences, right? The more excited the audience are, the more excited will be the singer, right? Or the more sluggish the audience are, the more sluggish will be the singer. Why? Because the thing works in the feedback mechanism. The response am I getting from my audience, I will be more excited to what? To respond to their experiences, to respond to their excitements, right? So as humans, to express ourselves, we need others, right? We need others to express ourselves. अगर हम अपने एक कमरे में अपने आप को बंद कर ले, and we do not have any other to share our experiences with, to share our creativity with, to share our own set of uniqueness with, what is the use of it, right? What is the use of it? So this is why Hannah Arendt is saying what is the importance of plurality, right? Plurality is a human condition, because on this earth man and not man lives, right? So earth, they only the men, right, and not man, a unique man, right? Here the term is man, remember this, man, men. We live as a man, right? What is a man? A group of men basically, right? Group of men, and not any single man lives here, right? We live as a community, we live as a group here, right? So again, let's see, are you guys are still with me, or have you lost somewhere in action or something like that? Okay, so which of this is the highest in the hierarchy in Arendt's theory of action? Option A is thinking, labor, work and action, right? So just 10 seconds starts now. Try answering this particular question. So I'm hoping that you guys might have guessed the answer. The answer is, of course, action. So human action is the highest in the hierarchy in the Arendt's theory of action, right? It is highest in the hierarchy. Action is the real political engagement, right? So what is the importance of plurality, right? We have just seen the two conditions, that is plurality and freedom is the two important conditions of human action, right? So now let's see what is the importance of that particular plurality and freedom, right? So Hannah Arendt stresses the significance of plurality in the public realm, right? Public realm, right? Why public realm? Remember, men, right? Men, group of men. Group is very important to realize or actualize one's potential. One cannot do something in alone or silo, right? One cannot do something when he or she is alone or silo. This is why we need a public realm. We need a public sphere to actualize, to realize our own set of creativities, right? This is why Hannah Arendt also stresses the significance of plurality in public realm, right? So plurality refers to diversity of perspective, right? As I have already told you, what is plurality? Plurality is basically diversity of perspective. Remember India's tagline, unity in diversity. unity in diversity, right? How diverse we are, how diverse we are, the most diverse country in the world, right? But still we promote the idea of unity in diversity, right? And I cannot think of something else which justifies the Anna Arendt's theory of action, right? And especially the conditions for action. The matter of the fact is that we are diverse, and there lies a real beauty of action, right? Because there is something which is very very important and useful for or to challenge our own set of beliefs and etc, right? The more diverse perspective, the more diverse experience that we get, the more able we will be challenged to ourselves and keep ourselves engaged in politics, right? So plurality refers to diversity of perspectives, experiences and opinions that characterize human society, right? So diversity of perspective, experiences and opinions, right? We all have our own unique set of perspectives, we all come from a different experiences, and we tend to create our own unique sense of opinions, right? So that characterizes a human society. It is through encounters with others, right? Encounters with others who are different from our own selves, right? Encounters with others who are different from ourselves, that we are challenged to think critically. We are challenged to think critically, to empathize and to engage in mutual recognition, right? Once we get to know the other side of the story as well from different perspective and all, we tend to challenge our own thinking that we have created, right? And hence it promotes what? It promotes critical thinking, right? And this is what is the sine qua non. This is also what is the requirement for UPSC aspirants as well. We need to think critically, right? Most of the time human beings are driven by myths, right? Myths. What are myths? Myths is something our own creation, our own illusionary world, right? And hence we need to think critically. What is think critically? We need to take into consideration the 360 or complete 360 degree or complete comprehensive understanding of something before passing our own judgment, right? So until and unless we do not have comprehensively analyzed something, we cannot confirm it as a conclusion. That will be a sheer myth, right? वो हमारी एक myth ही होगी। क्यों? क्योंकि हमें पूरी स्टोरी पता ही नहीं है, एंड अगर हम कंक्लूजन अपने दिमाग में क्रिएट कर लेते हैं तो वो हमारी सिर्फ एक इल्यूजन, हमारी एक myth होगी। That is why we need to have diverse experiences, diverse perspective in order to keep our myths challenged, right? In order to promote the notion of critical thinking, right? This is what is the debate or participatory democracy is all about, right? In our parliament we have the discussions and etc, several motion so as to promote critical thinking in the lawmakers of our countries, right? This shows that Hannah Arendt is supporter of participative and deliberative democracy, right? And this is what is the foundation. This is what the participative and deliberative democracy is. What this is the foundation of democracy, right? If this is not practiced, then there will be what? There will be establishment of totalitarian regime, as simple as it sounds, right? So this is why it becomes very very important even for us to actively participate in the democracy, right? Because if citizens, we will see her concept of power in the upcoming lecture, right? So where she says that power, there is a huge difference between power and authority, power and violence and etc, right? Power is something which is held by the people, right? People have power to participate in democracy and regulate the authority, but authority is something which comes from the above on the people, right? So most powerful element of any democracy is who? The people of our country. We the people of India, right? We the people is the most powerful. That is why to participate, right, to practice our power, it becomes very very important to participate in democracy with the like-minded and with the diverse set of people, right? So what is the relationship between action and speech, right? So Hannah Arendt is giving more emphasis to action that we have just seen, right? Action is something highest in the hierarchy when we talk about Hannah Arendt theory of politics, right? But sir, is action only sufficient, or speech has also some importance, right? Can human being engage in action without speech? or can human being only practice in speech and not in action? So what is the relationship between action and speech, right? Very basic question, because in today's time जब भी हम politicians को देखते हैं, we don't see their action, we see their speeches of what they are doing, right? Then we tend to bring ourselves to the conclusion that yes, if any particular authority is speaking in certain manner, then it is true that they are also acting in such and such manner, right? That is why here Hannah Arendt is also giving us a relationship between action and speech, right? What is her perspective, her opinion on the relationship between action and speech? So according to Hannah Arendt, action is speech and speech is action, right? So one clear line definition or relationship which she is giving to all of us is that for her the speech is action and the action is speech, right? She means to say that there should be no difference in what we say and what we do. What we say, we must do that, and what we do, we must say that. We should not engage in any deceptive speech and speeches and etc. Whatever is real, whatever is genuine, whatever is truth, we must do, we must speak. So, right? It is not like if I am doing a work of 100 rupees and I am exaggerating it a worth of 1000. It should not be like that कि 100 रुपए का काम करके आप 1000 का काम बता रहे हो. It is not something which is being advised by Hannah Arendt, right? For her, action is speech and speech is action, right? So work, action speak louder than a speech, right? So action, so your action must be very, very clear, very, very louder, right? So in the words of Hannah Arendt, only where words and deeds have not parted company, right? Where words and deeds have not parted the company, where words are not empty and deeds are not brutal, where words are not used to hide but to reveal, right? So if we look closely to this particular statement of Hannah Arendt, she is kind of criticizing the notion of ideology, right? So when we talk about ideology, what it is, ideologies are nothing but myths, right? And how myths can be created? By what? By using empty words, right? By using brutal connotations, by using brutal speeches, right? Where words are used to hide and not reveal. This is what our ideology is. So here Hannah Arendt is clearly saying that only where words and deeds, words and actions, right? Actions have not parted company. They are not different. They are not different. They are not different. Where words are not empty, right? Empty in the sense they should not be verbose, right? And deeds are not brutal, right? Actions are not brutal. Where words are not used to hide but to reveal the truth. This is what is the union of words and deeds. This is what is the union of speech and action. This is what is action is speech and speech is action for Hannah Arendt, right? Thus for Hannah Arendt, the action is the only activity that goes on directly between humans, right? That goes on directly between humans, right? Why? Because it corresponds the condition of plurality. And we have discussed the conditions for plurality, which was freedom and what? Freedom and what? The diverseness, right? Freedom and diverseness, equality and etc., right? These are the conditions of plurality, and actions corresponds this particular plurality, right? So these conditions, it's not only condition sine qua non, right? What is sine qua non? This is not only the required, this is not only the required condition, but this is the exceedingly important condition, exceedingly important conditions, right? We do not have to put lot of emphasis on this Latin maxim. Just remember the essence that human actions, right, are not required. They are not only required, but they are exceedingly important in order to actualize human conditions, right? So with this, she has also given an assumption or a caveat, right? Precaution that there is also a notion of fragility of action. And what is fragility of action? Again, this comes from her work of the human condition, right? So despite its transformative potential, right? Transformative potential of what? Action, right? Action has a transformative potential. It can transform a normal human to a active political human, right? Jus politikon, remember, jus politikon. So it has a transformative potential, right? Through action, a normal human or a animal laboron can be transformed to a jus politikon, right? Arendt recognizes that action is fragile, right? Fragile. What is fragile? It can be easily breakable, right? Easily broken and easily undermined in the modern world, right? She is saying that despite the action has a transformative potential, still it can be easily undermined, right? Again, action can be subsided, action can be ignored, action can be neglected. Why? Because of the certain conditions which are prevailing in the modern world, right? And what are those conditions? The first condition is the rise of consumerism, right? What is rise of consumerism? Rise of consumerism is basically the rise of atomistic nature of man, where man is going to any extent to fulfill his self-interest, right? To fulfill his self-interest, right? Self-interest. So this is again a what ideology of material world, right? Capitalist world, right? The rise of consumerism. The second one is the rise of bureaucratization. What is bureaucratization? Bureaucratization, it is basically the label of powers, right? The different labels of power. What is happening in different levels of power? Let's say if you are a civil servant or an IAS of any particular district, right? So you will be getting orders from your seniors, right? You will be getting your orders from the seniors and you have to just follow that. That is why we are the executives, we are the permanent executives, right? We do not have our own autonomy to create something new. We just have to follow the orders of the seniors, right? This is what is leading to what? This is what is leading to the elimination of action, right? This is what is leading us to eliminate the actualization of our own human conditions, right? Because we are not being able to create something new. We are just in the system of bureaucracy. We are just being the victim of orders, right? We are just being the mechanics of the orders, right? We just have to follow the orders that we are receiving from our seniors, right? This is what something which is leading us to eliminate or kill our own individuality. And mass society, what is mass society? Mass society is basically the mobocracy, right? What is mobocracy? The people are tend to less interested in the real affairs, real sphere of the world, that is the politics, right? This is what is something which is eroding the conditions for meaningful political engagement, right? What are the three conditions? The first one is rise of consumerism, the second one is bureaucratization, and third one is mass society. So these three conditions are leading to eroding of the conditions for meaningful political engagement, right? So in the face of these challenges, what Arendt says, that Arendt calls for renewed efforts to cultivate spaces of freedom and plurality where action can flourish, right? That is why in international sphere we have multilateral organizations, right? Multilateral organizations and what affiliations, so where everyone is equal, but also they comes with their difference, plurality, their diverse experiences, right? And they tend to engage in what? Debate, discussion and etc., right? Debates, discussion and etc., so as to actualize their true political conditions, right? So this is what is the concept of fragility of action, that despite the transformative potential nature of action can be fragile, right? Especially due to certain conditions in the modern world, right? Like consumerism, bureaucratization, mass society and etc. That is why Hannah Arendt is emphasizing on the renewed efforts to establish or cultivate spaces of freedom and plurality, so as to have active political action, active political life, so as to eliminate any establishment of totalitarian, authoritarian regime in the world, right? So let's see whether you guys are on the lecture or you are thinking about some action in some other domain. All right, so according to Arendt, when does a person achieve human condition, right? When will a person achieve a human condition? When she performs labor to fulfill basic needs, right? So this, we are talking about the labor. The second, when she exercises her thinking faculty, right? When she performs political action, when she is economically free, right? So what is the right answer? So your time starts now. I'm hoping you guys have guessed the answer right? So the answer is basically when she performs political action, right? Because political action is the highest action in her hierarchy of action, right? So this is the answer. I'm hoping that you guys have put the answer in the comment section, right? I will check it and I will also like it. And the answer for this particular question, right, that which of this is the highest in the hierarchy in Arendt's theory of action? Again, the right answer is action, right? It is the highest in the hierarchy of action. All right. So the answer for the first question, right? What is the methodology adopted by Hannah Arendt in deriving her ideas? Again, you might have guessed it, right? The answer is phenomenology, right? So based on the real life experiences that she has herself undergone in the Nazi Germany, and based on that, she shaped her political perspective, right? The answer for this particular question, that which of the following is not true? So the answer is that she criticized USA in her work, that is American Revolution and Democracy. This is not true because she was highly inspired by the American Revolution and she appraised the American Revolution, right, in her work, that is American Revolution and Democracy. So this answer is not something which is true, right? So the third answer is that which of these characteristics of totalitarian state according to Hannah Arendt, right? The characteristics of totalitarian state. So use of terror and ideology, violence becomes an end in itself, state tries to control even soul, right? So which option did you guys opt for? Option A, option B, option C, but here answer is option D, right? So all of the above are the characteristics of a totalitarian state, right? Where the terror and ideology, they becomes means to a violence, right? And violence becomes an end in itself, and state tries to control not the body or mind but also the soul, right? Why soul? Because it eliminates the individuality by completely controlling their body and mind, right? Why did Arendt criticize ideology, right? Why did she do so? What did you guys think, right? So again, I said that there could be two confusion here, that ideology is based on myth and ideology makes human being passive, right? So the answer here will be ideology is based on myth, right? This is why she is criticizing the entire notion of ideology. So the right answer should be A here and not the C, because C is a consequence of ideology, right? Once ideology is propagated, ideology is disseminated in the public, then the public will become passive. But C criticizes ideology because ideology is not something true. It is completely based on myth, right? So with this, we are done with today's lecture, people. I am also very happy and enthralled to share with you all that I have received some of the humongous number of answers, and I'm still evaluating it, but I am really excited to see some of your answers as well. I will soon share some of the answer script as well, the nicer ones, which you can get a glimpse of and get an idea how an answer can be attempted effectively. So with this, we are done with this today's lecture, people. Thank you so much for watching, and if you guys have liked this particular video, then please ensure to like the video and also share it with your close one and subscribe. Until next time, this is your host, friend and guide Naman signing off. Keep watching, keep learning with UPSC by Naman Raj Gupta.